The sun was slowly sinking lower and lower. Its rays illuminated only the hillsides, creating bizarre bright spots on them. The forested wilderness was preparing itself for the night's activity. With the gradual fading of the day's sounds, the animals and birds accustomed to daytime life were preparing to rest, while the nocturnal inhabitants were beginning to wake up and search for interesting events that had occurred during the day. Myself, Jake, along with an employee, a former hunter, and his dog, completed our route and headed towards our camp. Night was coming in fast and the last rays of the sun were disappearing, enveloping everything around us in a dusky blanket of darkness. The moon had risen in the sky, and the stars were sprayed across it. Its mysterious light gave the surrounding nature magic, turning ordinary things into something incredible. On a night like this, it's easy to imagine you're in a fairy tale. The worker led the way ahead of us and I followed. After about 500 yards, it seemed to me that someone was walking parallel to us, appearing and disappearing among the bushes and trees. Without slowing down, I looked back to make sure. Suddenly, I stumbled and fell. The hunter stopped and turned around. Feeling the pain in my leg, I took off my backpack and a contraption to examine the wound. Relieved, I realized I didn't have an open fracture. The worker approached me. Recognizing that I was having trouble with my leg, he found a stick for me to lean on. Taking my backpack and the implement, despite my objection, he helped me stand up and we continued on our way. He was loaded, 2 backpacks, a fixture, a rifle and an axe. And I was walking unloaded, leaning on a stick. The dog ran ahead, sometimes running up to us. With each step the pain in my leg increased. After walking about 300 yards, I stopped and sat down on the ground. Lifting my pant leg, I asked for light on my leg. It was already beginning to swell at the sight of the intense pain. The hunter pulled iodine and bandages from his backpack. I applied the net and bandaged it. "Can you continue on your way?" he asked. "Where am I going to go? You're already loaded like a mule." "Just move slower," I replied. With great effort and clenched teeth, I stood up and we continued on our way, he in front, occasionally looking back at me. It was bearable at first, but as I went on, the pain became more and more unbearable. I continued walking with clenched teeth. Sweat began to appear on my forehead from the pain. Just when I was about to ask to stop to rest, I felt someone supporting me, easing my weight on my sore leg. It was a strange sensation. I didn't feel any physical touch, it just felt easier to walk. There was no aggression or threat. When I lifted my head to face him, he smiled and nodded. "Thank you," I whispered. At that time, the hunter stopped and turned around to make sure I was following him. His eyes widened for a moment, but he quickly pulled himself together and kept walking. Finally, we approached the camp where a fire was already burning and other travelers were sitting around it, having returned from their treks. As we got closer, I felt a gentle release and my feet touched the ground. The pain in my leg intensified again. Turning my head, I saw the creature standing next to me a meter away. "Thank you very much," I said with difficulty. The hunter stopped and bowed to him. "Thank you, Master of the Taiga, for your help," he said. The creature smiled and disappeared behind the trees as if it had never existed. As we approached the campfire, we joined the others. After dinner, over a cup of tea, we shared our impressions of our unusual encounter. Thanks to the Taiga master who helped me walk, for some reason, the hunter would not have to go for help, leaving me alone.